and Barbell, here we are standing by.
All right.
That's all the time we have for today, Sunrisers. You know, it has been absolutely fun, but we've got to go. We ain't got to go home, but we got to get out of here.
Yeah.
So if you missed anything or you just want to rewatch some of your favorite segments, we've got you covered at CVMTV.com. And for all the fun stuff in between, we are on Instagram at SunriseCVM and at CVM_television.
All right, remember to tune in for Lead Story this evening at 6:30 with George Davis, followed by The Cut at 8 p.m. featuring Reggae Boys Head of State Damian Lowe and none other than TJ Drift. So you don't want to miss that. Speaking of the Reggae Boys, watch them compete against the likes of Argentina, Brazil, Mexico, USA, and more at this year's Copa America 2024 football tournament. You can see it happen live on CVM from June 20 to July 14. That's it. Big up to everybody and our official catering sponsor, Mothers. Best breakfast in town. Roundtable Squad takes over right now.
Welcome to the Roundtable, guys. I am Barbie, your host for this beautiful Monday morning. And joining me this morning is my co-host, Callie. Good morning, Callie.
Hi, my darling.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm really, really good
Wow. And our
Yeah.
very special guest this morning is, welcome him back to the table.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Diamond, attorney at law. Welcome back again once
Hey, good
again.
morning.
It's good to have you
Thank
again.
you for having me again.
Yes, it's great to have you, right? So
Always.
the diamonds are always good to have around.
Absolutely,
Yes,
absolutely.
absolutely.
You must get it all the time. You have the coolest name. Like, who has Diamond?
And I think Barbie's a little cooler, but Diamond works.
You do
Barbie,
both.
Yeah, they're actually both pretty cool names, huh?
I was trying to find a claim to fame. My middle name is Hope. Can I be in the likes of you both?
Yeah,
Okay.
Absolutely.
You just have to join us
Absolutely.
with Hope. So we have Barbie, Hope, and Diamond.
Not bad.
Oh, that's so
Not bad.
cool.
Very expensive. Very expensive.
How was your weekend, Callie?
It was good. I mean, I hardly do on Monday, so it's like starting off the Monday morning here
Same.
is
I haven't
like
done it in a
good.
while.
What did I do on the weekend? It always is such a blur.
Well, I know
went to-
my pastor was at your church.
Yes, he was. He
Pastor Chris
was.
at
Yes,
Zeal
he
yesterday.
did. Yeah, so there was church, and we hung out with friends yesterday and just spent a full day. So that was fun. Yeah.
Great. And your weekend, sir? How was your weekend?
Oh, well, my weekend was quietly spent watching the seaside.
That's
Oh,
good
wow.
too.
Watching the seaside, that's a nice way to spend
Yeah,
a
that's
quiet
a vibe.
weekend. But I tell you what, it is now time to check out what's buzzing online in our social buzz this morning. Check this out.
I have a joke for you, you know.
Yes, sir.
What you call a fish what can't swim?
Yeah, I don't know the name for that.
Macaroni shoes. That's funny though.
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah, that's a new one.
Explain it.
Macaroni.
Mm.
You like macaroni? The macaroni that you eat? With the kind of stringy thing? Yeah.
Yeah, you get it. Yeah.
Yo, Jamaicans are wrong answer. We have an answer for everything. Like, yo, how we come in? How we stay so?
Macaroni shoes.
Man, say, yeah, man, we get it done. I'll try to explain it, you know.
But we just laugh at everything, right?
No, we
So
do.
everything is just funny.
Exactly.
I will love laugh, and we're going like we know what we're talking about or what everybody else is talking about. And we literally have
Wrong and strong.
no
clue.
Wrong and strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. My man said, explain it.
My boy not even take two breaths and say, all right. We're going to master it out.
Disclaimer, I had no idea what he was saying.
No idea.
No idea about that.
Nobody
The
did, but he
macaroni.
still answered.
You know
Oh,
what?
boy.
It is now time for a bag of things.
Hooray. I'm like,
So my bag of things this morning is actually this hair care line that was named, it's Ma Brown's, right? And it was actually named after my grandmother.
you joking? Like your real grandmother?
My real grandmother. So when my cousin, his name is Peter Meader, he's the CEO of Pax Cosmetics in the UK. when he was younger, he remembers how grandma used to mix like herbs and oats and honey and everything for his hair. So he literally says it's the reason why he has such great hair now. So he made this line, he created this line actually in her memory and with her name. So it's actually, of course, you know, I had to get them. I had to get all of my things. So this braid spray, can I tell you that this is why my braids have lasted this long?
I want to spray.
Right, it's a full line of products, natural products, and the key thing was for it to be affordable, right? No, it's okay. The key thing was for it to be affordable. Right?
It's great. It feels good. It's like refreshing in my hair.
You can actually use, you can use these two. This one to grow your hair, right? And this one, Michael, is so that, you know, it don't itch. You don't have to like scratch. Yeah. Are you touching your beard? Do you want something for your beard?
That was a hint. That,
you can just use the oil for your hair. Or if you wanted to lay down, you can use this. You can use this, right? It's like a pomade. Right, it's really nice and natural, and it doesn't cake or build up, which is what I love, especially when you use it for your edges.
Very cool.
So this, yes, I thought this was absolutely amazing. So I enjoy it, and I encourage everybody to go and enjoy it too.
Where can we find it, Barbie? Where can we find it?
You can find it in most beauty supply stores in Jamaica, but you can definitely find it online, Pax Cosmetics and Ma Brown's.
Very cool.
Yes,
I'm going to check it out.
Please do.
Yeah,
now,
for sure.
I know I see something really, really hot coming in here, Abby. Thank you. Let's see. What is so hot in this bag? The art of hard conversation.
It's gonna be a hard one.
Yes, the art of hard conversations. Mr. Diamond, I'm gonna start with you on this one because you are our guest, right? And we love to hear from our guests first. Hard conversations.
Yes.
Unpack that for us just a little bit. What is even considered a hard conversation?
That is such a challenge. I would imagine that a hard conversation would be something whereas you're very fearful of the reaction of your listener, or whether or not you'd be able to convey your particular point that they would understand, and then you can actually reach some type of resolution. Or it's just to even make an announcement that you know is going to create some type of, you know, issue.
Are they always conflict-based, though, hard conversations? Because hard conversations, for me, sometimes are not necessarily conflict-based, but sometimes conversations that you have to have with people that they may not be necessarily ready or in a place to receive. So if it's something to do with, like, character.
Right.
Development, your personal hygiene, even personal choices that you've made, those can be very difficult, challenging conversations to have with people and how to approach, right?
Yeah.
So, Callie, you have teenagers.
Yeah.
You have teenagers, and I know that sometimes conversations with them as they grow about just their choices
100%.
and a lot of different things that they do. How do you even approach a hard conversation before we get into navigating?
No, it's interesting how you said it, because I'm taking everybody's, because when you get in a topic, I know difficult conversations have their topics like fertility, talking about maybe someone's weight, approaching your boss on salary, those type of things. But then I like what you had to say, like difficult general conversations. So I will take my girls home in the car with their friends, and the car will reek. And I often don't even know where to begin. Do I go to the parents? Do I have a conversation? Do you buy someone deodorant? It's difficult.
Yes.
So I'm coming here today to tell you that I have not figured it out. I hate confrontation. I hate having difficult conversations. I'm generally a peacemaker, and so I will just bypass as long as I can, kind of tell myself, okay, they're only in the car for 5 minutes. But so I'm really ready to learn from you guys, because I know I need to mature in it, and it's so interesting that this is a topic today.
As a disclaimer, I can certainly say to you that for those who ride in a car with you, they've just been informed that there's an issue that you have kept silent. So be prepared. Be prepared for that conversation.
I think Callie's talking about me. I was just in the car with her
several
yesterday.
carpool days. It wasn't the Monday or the Tuesday group.
They're going to get in the car and start sniffing themselves now. So,
You know, one of the challenges, though, is that sometimes we listen not to understand, but listen just to respond. And that is the problem.
I always
that's
say
true.
to people, if you already know what you're going to say before I'm finished speaking, you're not listening.
Absolutely.
Right? So that it's a key to having hard conversations or difficult conversations is actually learning how to listen, right? Because ideally we feel like, I know exactly what I'm going to say, I know exactly what she's going to say, and so you just jump to saying it without even listening to the person, right? So I think that it's very important to listen to them, right? To listen. So listening is how you discover, right? So you discover what the problem is and what the real issue is, because it may not even be what they're talking about, right?
Right.
So that's how you discover. And then once you discover it, then you help them kind of define it, right? Where can help them to pinpoint what the real issue may be. And that's how you open yourself to discussion.
Can you admit that if you've ever had a conversation with me, like I've had to really work on feeling offended immediately. Nobody likes to feel bad. Nobody wants to know that they're in the wrong. So let me take on that side of things. Like, it's always hard to hear, you are not good enough in this, you need to improve in this. I don't know that I take it well internally, or that I even want to finish a conversation, because immediately I want to just defend my little old Cali self. And so it's always hard. But marriage has taught me to have those conversations, and I think Bruce and I have developed a little technique. So we know the topics that are sore, and he will say,
before you rush into that, before you go into that, we are going to go to a break and come back right after there. We'll pick up where Callie left off. More Roundtable up right after the break.
Awesome.
Welcome back to the Roundtable this morning, everyone. The topic is the art of hard conversations. Now, just before the break, where we left off with you, Callie, and you were talking to us about just marriage, even in marriage, conversations in marriage, and how difficult they can be.
Right.
And you were giving us an example.
So
with you and Bruce.
I don't even want to just speak marriages, relationships, sorry. So what we did was we put all the conversations that are sore for us on the table, whether it's in-laws, just the different things. And so before we go into a conversation that we need to have, he goes, sore topic. So then we take a minute, I take a deep breath, and I've engaged my being and just like, okay, we're going into this. We're going into deep waters. And it really does help on the other end, knowing what I'm going into. And so I'm going to slow down and logically and just mentally prepare myself for what we're going to, and process it as maturely as possible. But I like something that Barbie said in the break, just that it is just as difficult for the person having to confront as it is for the person receiving.
Yes, absolutely. And that's why, as I said, that's why a lot of times we avoid having hard conversations, is because of how uncomfortable it makes us. But understanding that the person we think about it's going to make this person uncomfortable, but the truth is it's also making us uncomfortable, right? So I like to say sometimes it has to hurt to heal, right? So it's not that there's certain conversations you're going to have, there's no way to make it, it's not that easy pill to swallow, no matter what. Even if you crush it up, it's not gonna easy for swallow, right? But if it's a conversation that has to be had, you kind of have to just build your confidence, right? Communicate clearly and control your responses. True. I think you have to learn how to control your responses, because again, that's where we go back to. If you already know what you're going to say before this person is done speaking, you're not listening.
Yeah.
Some of the best medicines for you
don't
are
taste
the ones that are bitter. The bitters.
Medicine.
So it's just like that. And a part of having these difficult conversations is that learning how to avoid it developing into, or basically digressing into something very abusive. For example, if you're speaking to someone and they're constantly cutting you off, stop speaking.
Stop speaking.
That's it.
Yes.
Do not speak over them. Just stop speaking.
And listen.
They'll recognize what they're doing, and then you continue. If it fails, reset for another time.
Absolutely.
You don't have to bully someone into hearing you, or they shouldn't bully you into hearing. So basically, these are some of the things. It's not just speaking; it's also the receiver. How do you manage that?
Right, because that's my issue with the repercussions. Because the two times I've taken up my Cali self to confront a couple of friends, it didn't end well. And then they started mocking you and saying, Cali thinks I am this, out loud in front of everybody. Just that it wasn't dealt with very well.
Right.
And so I don't like the idea of potentially losing a friend over it, or becoming uncomfortable when we get together. And so I just have decided that if I just don't become offended, or just make peace, or just try to let it go, life will be so much better.
So what I'm going to say to you, and then I'm going to move into another area of hard conversations, is you have to also learn how to create safe spaces to have difficult conversations in. And I would propose to you that if the response was something that they were able to make public, maybe it wasn't a safe space to have that conversation.
We had it quietly, but they didn't take it well, and so I think they needed to bring it to the open outside of that to kind of feel better about it. You can't
We can talk through different types of safe spaces.
Maybe. I would love to hear that.
We can definitely do that.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I find even in having difficult conversations is that most people don't understand the difference between sympathy and empathy.
Exactly.
Right? So sympathy says, I'm sorry that you're going through this. Empathy says, I understand, I feel. I can actually feel. So it's when you can empathize with someone, you can actually meet them exactly where they are, right? And when you can meet somebody where they are, then what you can do is you're in a position now to say, if this were me and someone was going to speak to me about this, what would work?
Exactly.
Perfect. What about deflection? So if Barbie comes and says, Callie, you know that you're always this, or let's go with late. And I need to have a conversation with you.
You're
really.
Always late, though,
yeah.
Kelly.
Yeah,
And then I'm like, but
so
Barbie, the Friday and the Wednesday, and like so I am big on looking at into that person's own life and say, are you ready to talk to me though? Like, do you need to also work on something? You know, it's hard for me to receive from someone who is dealing with the same thing and not, and you know, I don't know, you know.
It shouldn't be hard for you to deal with, to speak to someone or listen
It's
to
like,
someone that's dealing with the same thing.
Who gives you the right to come to me? You know what I mean?
Actually, a good response to that is, well, let's work on this together. Can you? What I find in having hard or difficult conversations also is sometimes if you let them lead, right? So not really talking and telling, but more so asking questions. You know, like if in an instance like that, you know, well, Barbie, do you think this is something that you can work with me on? Can we work on this together?
What's going on with
I know that you know this is not just something that I deal with, but everyone deals with it from time to time. What do you do to change or to help you be on time? What are some of the things can we work on this together?
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
and
so
I find asking questions really just helps them.
It does help. You know, psychiatrists, psychologists speak to using the sandwich method.
Yeah.
Start with something complimenting, something encouraging. Then you can put the hard stuff in the middle. And then you can end off with something encouraging, empowering, you know, so that this individual doesn't feel slighted. They'll see your concern and you have a genuine solution that you might be offering. So not everyone will be receptive.
Yes.
Just accept
and you
that
have
reality.
To prepare that.
And you must be prepared to keep it moving.
You're right. I like these techniques that you are offering.
You
guys.
have to be prepared.
So I'm hearing safe spaces. I'm hearing how you start, middle, and end. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the positive energy is what we want to reinforce.
Yes.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And we don't want a situation where individuals feel like they didn't learn from you, or they leave it unattended and you have this tension.
Yeah.
Remove the tension, because we want to grow.
And I tell my friends too, because so for me, one of the things that I really cannot stand is when someone says, well, Barbie, I didn't say anything to you because I knew you weren't going to like it when I said it to you. When you don't say it to me, then you're hurting me. Why would you allow me to keep doing something or to do something that you know could potentially hurt me? And when you keep that from me, right? You even rob me of my right to grow, but as well as my right to respond to that. Maybe that's an emotion or something that I need to respond to get out and to deal with, to be able to grow. So even though it's hard to say, you've got to find a way to pinpoint and say, let me talk. Let me figure out how to talk to this person about that. I see you shaking your head, so.
You're absolutely right, because we have to enter into these conversations to know that we don't know everything.
Yes.
There's always something to learn, and even if that individual is not able to articulate properly, don't just dismiss them.
Right.
Because they brought this up because there is an issue, and perhaps we can find it together, like you said. You know, it's just a matter of asking questions, sincere questions, not sarcasm.
Yes.
Because sarcasm can come out in certain ways, and that makes them get into being defensive, and it turns into an argument rather than a discussion.
A sincere questions, not sarcasm. That's so important, because often when we're uncomfortable, we try to kind of make something light.
Right.
And so we may joke, but it's not. If it's a serious conversation or a hard conversation, then that can come off the wrong way.
Exactly.
You know? So it's now time for another break. So stay tuned for our final thoughts right after the break.
If you're the kind.
Thanks for staying with us. Time definitely flies when good things are happening, but you know what time it is. It's time for our final thoughts.
Yeah.
Michael, your final thoughts.
My final thoughts is that difficult or hard conversations will always happen. The reality of it is that you should be patient and respond with love. If what you're saying cannot be positively expressed, then don't express it. ask for some more time to meditate on it, and come back later when you're, in a better headspace. The reality of it is that we have to live with these individuals, but we also have to live with ourselves, and guilt is not something we want to carry.
Yeah,
It's true.
that's awesome. For me, I always want to speak to those who do have a fear, those who don't want to talk to their boss about salary for fear of losing a job or a relationship that they don't want to lose or a friendship that is too precious. And so that's how a lot of I've lived my life in I don't know if it's fear or just deciding to make peace instead or just deciding to override it with just not being offended. But I do love your little techniques, and so I think I might make practice, like your sandwich effect, start with something complimentary and then move in middle and end. And Barbie just coming from a place of empathy and asking questions. So I am going to take the approach of I'm moving into this space, having learned what you guys have taught me, and we'll see how it goes from there. Yeah.
And my final thoughts are that difficult conversations are difficult because they just are. So it's easy if it's easy, it's hard if it's hard. It doesn't get easier if you decide not to have the conversation. So just decide ahead of time how you would want to be approached and just do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And sometimes I think it's also about being honest and open with yourself about who you're about to have the conversation with and whether or not you really even need to have the conversation, right?
Part.
If the conversation is even yours to have.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that is a wrap for the Roundtable today, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Monday and the rest of your week, guys. And as you go forward into the world, remember, be good and be on purpose.
Give thanks for life. Give thanks for life. Chimney, chimney. Today my rise like the sunrise, my bright and my upright. No one can break my vibes. I may not care who I fight, I know I criticize. I'm on the higher heights. So you can say what you want to and do what you want to. It's no concern to me. But come have my own vision, me dip on my own mission to rule my destiny. Oh, it's my day to do anything I want to. It's my time, and I'll use it any way I want to. It's my life, and I'm responsible for every action. It's all mine, my day, my time, my life. I beg you, easy now, give me some reason now, and don't invade my space. I'm in a different place, different phase, moving on my way. So if you feel like a champion, then nothing can go wrong. This one is your song. Hey, put away your troubles, put away your worries. Help me sing along. Oh, it's my day to do anything I want to.